My name is Julian. I was 15 years old when my life veered off a path I never knew I was on. At that age, you don't always understand the weight of what you're experiencing. You just carry it, you normalize it, you adapt. My father, Nathan, was a man of few words but many secrets. To the world, he was a modest tailor in our small, dusty town. Customers came in and left with perfectly stitched suits and polite smiles. They had no idea what lurked behind the fabric, what kind of father he really was. My mother, Eliza, used to run the household with grace and quiet strength. But over time, arguments grew between her and my father. They were sharp, cruel exchanges that I tried to tune out with music or silence. Until one day she packed her suitcase, kissed me on the forehead, and walked out the front door. I didn't know then that it was goodbye. Not just for a while, but for years. My father never asked me how I felt. He simply told me, "You're staying with me. You're a man now." I wasn't. Without my mother, the house felt colder, dimmer. But I stayed. I had no choice. And slowly, the mask my father wore in public started to fall apart at home. I would hear things, see things. Women coming in and out of our home at odd hours. My father, unashamed, parading them past me like I didn't exist. Sometimes they'd stay the night. Sometimes they'd leave before dawn. Once one of them looked at me, really looked, with pity. That scared me more than my father ever could. But what scarred me wasn't what he did in front of others. It was what happened behind closed doors, the lines he crossed, the things he said, the control he asserted. I won't describe it in detail. Some things shouldn't be spoken, only felt in the silence of memory. At 15, I stopped speaking much. I stopped trying to understand why. I just adjusted. Like a piece of fabric beneath his scissors. I was reshaped until I no longer recognized myself. Time moved strangely. I didn't celebrate my 16th birthday. Or my 17th. Life became mechanical. Wake up, avoid him, go to school, come home, eat in silence, and sleep with one ear open. He never hit me. He never yelled. That's the thing people never understand. Not all abuse is loud. Sometimes it's the quiet that suffocates you. By 18, I learned how to survive. I learned how to bury parts of myself so deep even I couldn't feel them anymore. I didn't bring friends home. I didn't date. I didn't trust anyone enough. I'd see mothers with their sons at the market and feel a pang of something I couldn't name. Jealousy, maybe. Grief. The ghost of something I never had. I told myself I was fine. I told myself I was lucky. After all, he gave me food, clothes, a roof. I became so numb to it all that by the time I turned 20, I truly believed this was what life was supposed to be like. Until one day, someone shattered that lie. It was a Sunday when I saw her again. I was returning from the grocery store when I heard a voice. Soft, familiar, trembling. "Julian?" I turned, and there she was. My mother. She looked different. Older, more tired. But her eyes, they were still hers. Still filled with that quiet strength, and now something else. Guilt. "Mom?" I whispered. She reached out to touch my face, then pulled back, unsure. "I've been looking for you." I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to feel. She explained quickly how she'd tried to reach out but had been pushed away, threatened even. How the community had started talking, whispering things about my father, until finally a few brave people stepped in. They convinced her to try again, to come back, to see the truth. She moved back into the house, briefly. My father didn't argue. Maybe he thought it would calm the rumors. Maybe he thought she'd fall in line. But she didn't. It was late, at night when it happened. I was sitting alone in the kitchen, staring at a mug of cold tea, when she sat across from me. She looked at me long and hard, then said the words I'd been waiting my whole life to hear. "Julian, what did he do to you?" I froze. My throat tightened. I wanted to lie, to say it was fine, to protect her, to protect myself. But I couldn't. So, I said the truth. "You left me when I was 15. I'm 20 now. This became my everyday life. I got used to it." She didn't speak, just covered her mouth and cried. real guttural sobs that shook her shoulders. I didn't cry with her. I had no tears left. She reached for my hand, held it like I was a child again, and said, "I'm sorry. I should have fought harder. I should have taken you with me. I didn't know." "It's okay," I interrupted, even though it wasn't. She looked at me and said, "No, it's not. But it will be. I promise you." The next morning, she packed our bags. No fights, no warnings. She simply said, "We're leaving." I didn't ask where. I didn't need to. My father stood at the door as we walked out. He didn't stop us. Maybe because deep down, he knew. Or maybe he simply didn't care anymore. We moved into a small apartment on the edge of town. It wasn't much, peeling walls, creaky floorboards, and secondhand furniture. But for the first time in years, it felt like freedom. It's been over a year since we left. I've started therapy. I've begun studying art. I draw a lot, mostly broken things, stitched back together, maybe because I still feel like one of them. My mother and I talk more now. Sometimes we sit in silence and just exist, together. Other times we cry. Healing isn't a straight line, but it's movement. And that's enough. I used to think I was broken beyond repair, that what happened in that house had destroyed me. But now I know I survived. And surviving is a kind of victory. This was my painful story. But it's not the end. It's the beginning of something better. It took years to rebuild the parts of myself that were buried in silence, but healing began the moment I walked away with my mother. What once felt like a prison is now just a memory, faded but never forgotten. My story is not one of blame, but of survival. I carry scars, yes, but I also carry strength. My relationship with my mother has become something I never imagined. Possible, honest, raw, and real. She's no longer a figure from my past, but a pillar in my present. I still have hard days, and some nights the shadows return, but now I face them with open eyes and a steadier heart. I am no longer defined by what was done to me. I am defined by the choice I made to walk away, and in that choice I found freedom. I found hope. I found me.